Hello everybody, it is Thursday, March 24th, 2011. This is episode 7.2 of my daily mini podcast where you get to watch me in my adventures of making computer games. If you like that kind of thing. Anyway, let's start my clock because I always forget to do that. Start. Alright. And, okay, so what did I do today? Today I worked on pretty much one thing. Continued working on the user interface for my game, for player stats, for the player to increment the player stats, and ultimately the same stuff will be used to generate a gear upgrade shop. Alright, so how am I doing that? Well, I'm using a middleware, as I said yesterday, called EZ-GUI. I'm using that to create the buttons and other user interface items. So let's take a look. Alright, so this might be a little loud. Let's turn it down just a little bit. Alright, so what do we got here? Alright, so yesterday I created a bunch of buttons. If you guys remember, if you watched that video, let's actually turn this, make it big, hit play. If you remember from yesterday, I got buttons that were the words for each of the stats, and when the player mouses over them, they increase in font size, and that's about as far as I got. I also have these progress bars, so to speak. Yesterday they were working like this, and I guess today they're working like this as well. In the future, I don't want to be able to click on them. I just want to be able to click on the word, or I guess in this entire boxed area. Let's zoom in a little bit. This entire boxed area, the player would be able to go here, click, and then they would increase their stat depending on how many training points they had. Alright, so that's the way it works. Well, that's the way we want it to work. Let's see how I improved that today. So yesterday I just had, this is all that I could do yesterday, is mouse over. Alright. So, if we make that small, let's go to the player object. I put a player object in the scene so that I could see how the player's stats, which are seen right here, strength, intelligence, dexterity, and constitution. And also, you can notice here the training points. I put 10 training points into this player object so that I could test training points. Alright. So, let's see. Maybe we could pull this out so we can drag it over here. Let's pull this out so we can see it here. And that way, we can actually zoom in and you can see what's happening. It is, I had to press play actually. Alright, so we're going to hit play. Alright, we're going to zoom in a little bit and you'll see the stats. All the stats are 1, the training points are 10. Now if I go to the game screen, you see it still mouses over. If I click on strength, you'll see that strength here increased by 1 and training points decreased by 1. Same thing for intelligence, dexterity, and constitution. Okay, so right now I also have each one set up to be limited by 5 points. So if I click 5, I can't click anymore. 5 is the maximum it could go. Also, you'll see when I run out of training points, 0. Actually, how did we get 5 and 5 and 2 and 2? That ain't right. Okay, something's wrong, but we'll check that out later. Alright, so if I click on dexterity, notice dexterity isn't increasing by 2, or isn't increasing by 1, because we don't have any training points. Alright, so that's almost working as intended. I don't know why. Let's do that real quick again. Let's do strength to 5. Oh, because it's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 8, 9, 10. Alright, and that's it. Okay, so we can't go any further than 10 training points. So each one had 1 in it already, so 2 plus 4 plus 4 is 10. Alright. Working as intended. Alright, so let's stop that. Let's throw this back into the editor. Same with this. Throw that there. Alright, something's missing. Ah, project. There we go. Alright. So how did I do this? Well, I've got the strength, the button objects, and in the button objects, using EZ-GUI, there are 2 sections to EZ-GUI's script. One of them is this script with method to invoke, and the other one is this method to invoke. So what we're doing is we're telling this script, whenever we click on the button, or tap, when to invoke is this tap, and tap is when you just click on it. Script with method to invoke. So we say, hey, take this script. It's actually referring to the object, button controller, but it's looking on button controller object. It's looking for the button controller script, and it's looking for this function, add strength. So let's go take a look at the button controller script. Take a look at the button controller script, and here is the method called add strength. And add strength does a couple things. It finds the player object. It grabs the script called object variables from the player object, and we call a name a variable called player variables. I'm smelling smoke, but hopefully it's not my house. Actually, it smells more like food. Alright. So we assign the script object variables to this variable called player variables. And we do that using the get component object variables for the object player game object, which is the object we found up here, the player object. And then we say, hey, if the player variables dot training points, that's the training point variable inside the object variable script, if the training points are greater than 0, and if the player variable dot strength, the stat that we want to modify, is less than the stat max, which is noted up here, stat max equals 5, then we're going to run this little bit of code here that says, hey, add 1 to the strength variable and subtract 1 from the training points. And then it says, hey, in case this wasn't true up here, in case training points was equal to 0, or the strength was equal to 5 or greater. Alright, so if the training points is equal to 0, the reason why we can't add any more points is because we have no more training points to spend. And also, if the player variable dot strength is equal to the stat max, in this case 5, we want to print stat max, or 5, is the highest value for strength. And that's it. And it goes the same way, I guess we'll zoom back in, the same way for each of the other stats. We have an add intelligence, an add dexterity, and finally at the bottom here, add constitution. And they're all pretty much the same code. I would like to find a way to only do this once in this script, but right now I'm doing it 4 times for the 4 different stats. So that's how we get the strength button, or any of the stat buttons, to add 1 point to that particular strength variable, or stat variable. Alright, so what about the progress bars, you're saying? Well, the progress bars don't work, as you saw, but ultimately I want them to, if I hit play again, and zoom in here, oh, not a good one. Alright, let's running out of time. Alright, so let's do this, we'll hit play. I want them to increment like this, as the player increments that stat. But I haven't figured out a way to do that yet without creating my own script. But what EZ-GUI has is this a script that kind of does that already. It has a script that lets me tap it to change states. And what I want to do is I want to change states so that I can use a sprite atlas like this one and pick the state that we are in from anywhere from well, most likely it would be from 1 to 5. And that's pretty much it. I haven't been able to do that yet. I'm looking at the script that they have available to do that, and I'm going to try to back engineer something. But that's about it for today, and that's about all the time I have, so we're running over 10 minutes. I want to get these things on YouTube, and I think the max there is 15 minutes, but I'm doing 10 minutes just to be sure. So that's it. If you have questions or if you want me to explain stuff further in my longer podcast, send me a note, send me an email, send me a chat message or whatever, and I'll try to expand on things. Because I know that these little mini podcasts don't really explain a lot in detail. But if you see something you like and you want to know how it's done, just send me a line. Alright, peace out. See you later.